Remember what Christmas looked like in childhood? Bright lights, the aroma of freshly baked goods, family gatherings, and things that felt so special. Times change, and many traditions from the 60s and 70s have vanished from our homes, lingering only in memories. Discover 15 Christmas traditions that made the holidays back then so unique, and revisit forgotten moments you might want to bring back. Aluminum Christmas trees. Remember how Christmas in the 60s sparkled with a futuristic glow? Aluminum trees first appeared in 1958 and quickly became a sensation. They were shiny, modern, and didn't need watering. These trees graced living rooms, lit up store windows, and became a hallmark of mid-century style. But everything changed in 1965 when A Charlie Brown Christmas aired, mocking aluminum trees as a cold, commercialized symbol of the holiday. Sales plummeted, and the trend faded almost overnight. Coca-Cola Christmas caravans. Do you recall the magic of Coca-Cola's Christmas caravans? Brightly lit trucks would travel through towns, transforming ordinary streets into a festive wonderland. Every child dreamed of seeing them in person. Those trucks felt like a gift straight from the North Pole. Coca-Cola truly symbolized the holiday spirit back then, with Holiday Caravan, trucks spreading Christmas cheer wherever they went. Did you know the idea of these caravans dates back to the 1950s? However, their iconic status emerged in the 70s. Later in the 1980s, the slogan was revamped, and the caravans almost disappeared from view. Do you remember when Christmas was a time for magical plays? Right in your own living room? In the 1960s, every family turned their living room into a stage. Parents and children performed stories about Santa and his elves, while grandparents, neighbors, and friends became the audience. It was a way to share the holiday spirit, laugh together, and let imaginations run wild. But things changed. By the 1970s, televisions were in 90% of American homes, and with the arrival of VCRs, family plays gave way to Christmas movies. Sears and Montgomery Ward Christmas catalogs. Do you remember the excitement of flipping through the Sears and Montgomery Ward's Christmas catalogs? They marked the true beginning of the holiday season. In the 60s and 70s, kids would spend hours poring over the pages of the Sears Christmas wish book, picking out the toys they'd be dreaming about all year. Parents used them for gift ideas, and families would circle their most wanted items with pencils. Montgomery Ward catalogs were equally beloved, until they closed in 1985. By the 1990s, everything had changed. Even the iconic Sears wish book was discontinued. When decorations were handmade, Christmas felt even warmer. In the 60s and 70s, many families gathered to string popcorn and tinsel into long garlands. These homemade decorations wrapped around the tree, adding a personal and cozy touch. Children loved being part of the creative process, and adults cherished the nostalgia of simpler times. Why did this tradition fade away? Affordable plastic garlands and shiny mass-produced ornaments took over, replacing something deeply personal with something merely convenient. Do you remember the sound of carolers at your door? It was pure magic. In the 1970s, especially in suburban neighborhoods, groups of friends or neighbors would go door to door singing Christmas carols. A joyful host would open the door and children would listen in awe as familiar tunes like Jingle Bells or Silent Night filled the air. This tradition, rooted in medieval England, once brought entire communities together through song. But over time, caroling became rare. People began socializing less and streets grew quieter, leaving this cherished tradition behind. Train under the Christmas tree. In those years, Christmas trains stood in almost every home. Children would spend hours watching a miniature train with its carriages circle around the tree. It was more than just a toy, it was a symbol of the holiday that brought the whole family closer together. The first sets appeared as early as the 1920s, and by the 1970s, demand for them was so high they were often sold out instantly. But over time, trains gave way to electronic toys and gadgets. What other holiday symbols remain only in memory? Do you remember when every Christmas card was personal and special? In the 60s and 70s, many families made their cards by hand, cutting, drawing, and signing them with care. They were more than just greetings, they were a way to show your loved ones that you remembered them. Imagine this, by Christmas up to 3 billion cards were sent in the US alone. Now, everything is different. Digital greetings have replaced paper ones, and the warmth of handmade cards has gradually faded. Do you remember the scent of hot punch welcoming guests at the door? In the 60s and 70s, Christmas parties began with a punch bowl filled with spices, fruits, and warmth. Eggnog, which was especially popular at the time, was served with nutmeg, and for adults, a bit of rum or bourbon was added. This tradition, dating back to the 1700s, brought a cozy atmosphere to every celebration. But over time, punches disappeared, replaced by bottled drinks and ready-made cocktails. Do you remember when Christmas started right in the stores and children waited all year for it? In the 60s, giants like Macy's and Sears hosted real celebrations for children. Christmas parties with puppet shows, Santa Claus, and gifts brought families together and turned shopping into a magical adventure. Every child dreamed of sitting on Santa's lap to share their wishes. But by the 1980s, malls had taken over, and the format of these celebrations changed. These cozy gatherings in stores remained only in our memories. Another tradition lost to the past. Imagine how the flicker of real candles turned the Christmas tree into a living wonder. In the early 20th century, candles were the primary decoration for Christmas trees. Even in the 60s, some families kept this tradition alive, lighting the candles for a few minutes to create a magical atmosphere. But it was risky. By the 1970s, candles had almost disappeared from homes due to the danger of fires. Electric lights, which became widely available mid-century, replaced them. Brighter and safer, yes. But could they ever match the enchantment of real candlelight? When live reindeer came to town, Christmas felt like a true fairy tale. In the 60s and 70s, live reindeer were a highlight of holiday celebrations in city parks and parades. Children watched in awe as Santa greeted the crowd accompanied by his magical helpers. Zoos even rented out reindeer for these events, creating a spectacle everyone looked forward to. Today, animatronics and special effects have taken their place. More convenient? Maybe. But where's the childhood wonder in that? Christmas markets were once the heart of the holiday magic. In the 60s and 70s, local markets brought the spirit of Christmas to life. Stalls with toys, candles, homemade treats, and gifts turned shopping into a stroll through a festive fairy tale. People gathered, shared smiles, sipped hot cider, and picked out handmade treasures for loved ones. But the rise of shopping malls in the 70s changed everything. Buying gifts became easier, but the warmth and festive charm of these markets were lost. What else have we given up in the pursuit of convenience? Christmas TV specials once united families around the screen. In the 60s and 70s, programs like A Charlie Brown Christmas were major holiday events. Children eagerly awaited Snoopy's antics, while adults enjoyed heartfelt stories. Imagine this: over half of American households would tune in to experience the magic of Christmas together. Today, such specials are rare. Holiday traditions have been replaced by streaming and endless TV series. What holiday traditions do you remember most fondly? Each of these cherished moments reminds us of simpler, warmer times. Which would you bring back to relive that magic?